Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and welcome to yet another edition of the operational report for the Ukrainian offensive. So it's been some days since I have done the operational report for the Ukrainians. So do press the like button, subscribe, and also do comment in the comment to let me know how much you love or like or dislike this operational report series of things of videos, because I want to know whether is it useful to you guys. So let's start off with the biggest one, which is with the Ukrainian BAKHMUT offensive, which I now realize is pretty big scale. So I'm going to relabel it as the super duper uber BAKHMUT offensive, because it's really super duper uberly successful. So the Ukrainians have launched massive attack, and this is done already for previously. I've already reported once or twice, and within the operational report, and they did make a pause for around 1 day or two, and then they resumed it, and this time around they push it even harder, and it is getting really successful. So the previously they started off okay. So for those that are, for the benefit of those that did not remember, the Ukrainians attacked at Bodanivka and the south of Ivaniske. This attack has not been successful. After that, the Ukrainians massed a big force and then pushed west of Klishevka, and this was successful. They managed to push the Russians out, and they managed to fight all the way to the canal region, and the Ukrainians have successfully taken everything here in this region west of the canal, and they are currently fighting and trying to get some kind of a foothold on the western part of, or on the eastern part of this canal. And however, while this is happening, the Ukrainians managed to do another massive offensive after the Russian forces redeployed here, and this becomes like something like a diversionary attacks. Then the Ukrainian attack and managed to capture quite a number of grounds in the north and south flank of BAKHMUT city, and the Russian forces actually have to withdraw from the front line and go back to their secondary line of defense, because they cannot hold this area here. In the south, now we are starting to see the result of this offensive in the south as well. After the Russian forces failing to hold some of this forest region around here, they actually went down and hold a different line. This time round, they are entirely pushed out of the forest region, and now they are really going into their maybe secondary or even third line of defense, which is along this line here that is actually reported by pro-Russian sources. And this is the line currently the Russians are holding, with the entire forest region here taken by the Ukrainian forces, and the Ukrainians are still pushing towards and attacking the Russian forces, and trying to reach Klishevka, which is actually over here. The attack is probably also in this area here, as the Ukrainians are trying to push the Russians back, and currently this line seems to be still under Russian control. Maybe this is a bit too close to BAKHMUT city itself. Reinforcement can come here faster, and this is also possibly the reason why the Ukrainians managed to recapture this southern corner of the southwestern corner of BAKHMUT city, as the Ukrainians managed to recapture, as they probably push the Russians back out of this corner, although the Russians currently are counterattacking in this region here. So the Ukrainians definitely is trying to open up as much as they can, as the Ukrainian lines within BAKHMUT city is sort of failing, especially in the latest information that we have. The Ukrainian last line of defense, which was actually around here, has been broken through by the Russian forces. So this has been a long time coming, and I'm not sure whether the Ukrainians would actually try to do the wise thing by withdrawing, because they cannot go in here now. This Kromove road is going to be closing soon. Will they be withdrawing out or will they actually double down and actually push troops in further and do another massive offensive to try to push the Russian back is unclear. Tentatively, it's unclear because the Ukrainians tends to want to hold ground as much as they can. But generally speaking, because of this BAKHMUT offensive by the Ukrainians, they have opened up these vital roads. They have largely opened up these vital roads of resupply and reinforcement or retreat. So this logistic line being opened up is going to help the Ukrainians have more options, whether they want to reinforce BAKHMUT city or would they want to withdraw from BAKHMUT city. This is going to be pretty helpful. Generally, we are still not sure in terms of the larger scale what is the Ukrainians are trying to do. According to my hypothesis, the Ukrainians are trying to push this way south from the Sivers front and from Klishchiivka, and then do a pincer around the entire force of Russian in the BAKHMUT front. And this is actually somewhat also reported by Prigozhin as well in his SITREP, which was taken down by YouTube. So in Prigozhin's information, he also sort of says that this is likely to be the vulnerable point of the Wagner forces, the Russian forces, as the Ukrainians can push in this direction and then causing encirclement of the Russian forces. So anyway, this is the BAKHMUT front. The Ukrainians also are doing probing actions over in the Kupiansk-Svatove front. They have been doing some probing. In the latest report is around at Timkovka, at Novoselivsky, Stemakivka, and at Andriivka. This is the latest one, and the one at Novoselivsky is a bit tricky. The Russian forces have this defensive line in this way. Both are on the higher ground. Kuzemivka is actually in the low ground, and while there is not much Russian troops within Kuzemivka itself, the Ukrainians cannot just attack into Kuzemivka because they will be under Russian fire control and they will be wiped out. So the Ukrainian forces have to attack the flanks of Kuzemivka in order to push the Russians backwards. Once they can do that, then they can capture Kuzemivka. And so Kuzemivka is somewhat of an important point, this village between Novoselivsky and Kuzemivka, because there is this road all the way to Nahone. There is this railway line, and then there is this highway that goes through these two towns, as well as small roads leading up to Zaporizhzhia or Kharoshivka. So that this not like a BAKHMUT kind of pivotal, but it's still rather important, which is why this part is very heavily fought over by the Ukrainian forces. And otherwise, the Ukrainians lost the initiative within the Masyutivka region, with the Ukrainians getting pushed out of Masyutivka, and the entire offensive from Sinkivka towards the Russian positions has been entirely abandoned. We do not see this attack anymore. This one is no more. So that is the situation. I think the river crossing, the plan to river cross the Oskil River from Novolimsk, and also in the further up north at Kayamka, this plan seems to be entirely abandoned. We don't see any Russian shelling in this position, at least not reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, and the information about preparation to do river crossing has also not been seen anymore. I think the strategic situation over at the Kupiansk front had changed with the loss of Masyutivka, and this actually caused the Ukrainians to actually have to reconsider what to do over at this front line. And however, other than that, we do have some information that the sabotage work by the infiltrator, saboteurs, or guerrillas, whatever you want to call it, has been continue to wreak some kind of havoc on the Russian back area, the rear area. And the latest one has been this very successful railway track sabotage at Kristenke within Crimea near Simferopol. And the train was blown up. 5 of the cars got derailed, and the entire railway line has been taken out. It's currently suspended, and the pro-Russian sources has information that the preliminary investigation says that it's a sabotage. So the Ukrainians sabotaging of railway lines continue to be a massive pain in the ass. It doesn't really affect the front line that much because train lines are also needed for logistics for carrying goods for civilians. But the thing is that all this is just additional resources that Russians have to spend to secure and check the railway lines. Maybe the trains cannot drive so fast. They have to drive slower as they have to navigate the railway line to ensure that there is no obstacles or no any things that is trying to derail the trains. So far, most of this is reported within the Russian region at Belgorod, Kursk, or Bryansk region. So these regions tend to have more railway issues. So other than that, we also have information coming from pro-Russian sources saying that the Ukrainians have around 50 to 55,000 troops in the Zaporizhzhia front, and on top of that, there are at least 16 planes and 6 helicopters. And rumors from the Ukrainian side, gathered by the pro-Russian sources, is that the Zaporizhzhia offensive is probably within a week, because everything is in place now. All the reinforcement, all the Ukrainian forces that has entered into the front and making preparation. They are holding the front lines, rear positions. They are all seems to be ready now. So the offensive, Zaporizhzhia offensive, is now estimated to be within a week. But this is of course rumors, so take it with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, that's probably everything. There's one more information, very interesting. There's a Ukrainian attack towards Shevchenko-Popivka. The attack towards Shevchenko-Popivka has not been seen for at least a month or more. The Ukrainians used to attack Shevchenko-Popivka direction a lot. And after that, we have seen a stop of this attack towards Shevchenko-Popivka. For maybe 1 to 2 months already, we haven't seen attack. So this renewed of attack reported by the Russian Defense Ministry, as they mentioned, is 2 attacks supported by tanks. Seems to signal some kind of change of the operations by the Ukrainians at this front line, at Crimea front. But of course, this is just one attack. Whether it is sustained or not, which is more of an indicator whether it is an offensive. So I believe this is everything, I guess, for the operational report for the Ukrainian side. And do press the like button, subscribe if you are new to this channel. Yeah, subscribe, press the like button if you want to see more of this. And do tell me in the comments, what do you think about the operational report, and what do you think about the Ukrainian operations? Are they doing well? What do you think, whether the Zaporizhzhia offensive will actually happen? And I'll see you in the next update.